I got the worst shock of my life when I returned home in a revealing dress. My husband took revenge. I don't know where to start as I am still in shock with what has taken place in my life. I am unable to wrap my head around the fact that I would ever be in such a situation in my life. I feel overwhelmed and lost, unsure of how to move forward or make sense of everything. It's like a nightmare that I can't wake up from, and I'm struggling to find a way to cope with the reality of it all. I know that I need to take some time to process my emotions and seek support from loved ones. I believe that with time, patience, and self-care, I will eventually find the strength to navigate through this difficult period in my life. Before I get into the details, my name is Avre. I am 33 years young and married to Sean, who is 29. I think my worst mistake was marrying someone younger than me and expecting that I could boss him around. Very soon, I realized that this marriage was something that will be an uphill battle for me to make it work. Sean looked like a decent and mature person while I was dating him. All my hopes came crashing down when I actually had to start living together with him. He was a grown-ass baby throwing tantrums all the time. I soon realized that age is just a number, and maturity levels vary greatly from person to person. It became clear that our relationship would require compromise, understanding, and patience to thrive. I thought that age doesn't determine maturity, and our relationship improved once I let go of those expectations. Now, we work together as equals to build a strong partnership based on mutual respect and understanding. After living with Sean for a year and living with all his tantrums, I was exhausted and needed a break. I decided to go on a vacation all by myself to get some peace and quiet. I met a handsome man who was older than me but was very mature. It hit me that this is exactly what I was missing in my life. Someone who would take care of me and not the other way around. He was attentive, caring, and made me feel special in a way I hadn't experienced before. It was a refreshing change from the constant stress of dealing with Sean's emotional outbursts. We spent the entire vacation getting to know each other and enjoying each other's company. It was refreshing to be with someone who understood my needs and made me feel valued. I found a new sense of happiness and did not want the vacation to end. But all good things came to an end. So did my vacation. I promised Philip that I will keep in touch with him. I did pour my entire heart out to him about my unhappiness in my marriage and everything else. Philip was very supportive and wanted to be there for me. He suggested that we continue our conversations through email or video calls, and I agreed wholeheartedly. I left the vacation feeling grateful for the new connection I had made and hopeful for the future. After coming back, I started staying happier as I was in touch with Philippe, and life felt good again. I tried to keep my distance from Sean and spend as much time at work as possible. This would help me have a better mood and not deal with Sean often. I also made sure to prioritize self-care and engage in activities that brought me joy. By focusing on my own well-being, I was able to maintain a positive mindset and avoid unnecessary stress from toxic relationships. Sean noticed that I had started dressing up more than ever, even if it was just for work. He did bring it up once, and I said that it was just that I was feeling like upgrading my look. I did not want to indulge him in any more details. I knew in my heart that I had started caring less and less about what Sean felt about me or my actions. I was on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth, and Sean's opinion no longer held the same weight it once did. I was focused on becoming the best version of myself, regardless of anyone else's approval. Philip was celebrating his birthday and had invited me to spend the week with him. I was dying to spend some time with him as it had been more than 3 months since we met. I was tired of the video calls and wanted to meet and feel him in person. We had planned a special dinner at his favorite restaurant, which was a cozy little place with amazing food and live music. I was able to make it even more special by surprising him with a gift that I knew he would love. I told Sean that I will be out of town for a conference for the entire week. Sean thankfully did not ask me for more details about it. I packed bags in his absence, as I did not want him to notice the stuff that I had ordered to take along with me as a surprise for Philippe. I wanted to keep the surprise for Philip a secret, so I made sure to pack discreetly while Sean was away. I hoped that everything would go smoothly and that Philip would be pleasantly surprised by my thoughtful gesture. I had booked the weekend at a hotel honeymoon suite and ordered a sexy dress for myself. I wrapped myself in a gift wrapper and was ready to surprise him. I had sexy lingerie under the dress, which I knew would blow his mind away. As he walked into the room, his eyes widened in surprise and his smile grew wider. The weekend was sure to be unforgettable. He slowly unwrapped it and was able to see me with a cheeky smile on my face as he slowly realized that it was in fact the gift that I had been talking about all evening. I came home late at night as my flight was delayed. I did send Sean a text letting him know that due to bad weather I might arrive the next morning, but there was a flight available and I just boarded it at the very last minute. I did not think too much to let Sean know as I wanted to talk to Philip on my way home, so I decided not to text him that I'd taken an early flight. I knew that Sean would be sleeping, so I decided to put on a revealing dress and enjoy a last-minute video call with Philip before I got back to my boring life again. We had a raunchy call at the back of the cab, where I could feel Philip getting excited and wanting to have sex with me all over again. As we ended the call, I couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement and anticipation for our next encounter. The thought of being desired by someone like Philip made me feel alive in ways I hadn't experienced before. I made my way into the house with my key and was surprised to see most of the lights still on. I was expecting Sean to be fast asleep, so I tiptoed so that I'm able to change into something decent before Sean spots me. As I reached the bedroom, I heard faint music playing from the living room, which was unusual for this time of night. Curiosity piqued. I quietly made my way towards the source of the sound. I slowly tiptoed to make sure I don't make a noise with heels in my hand, so that I am not caught. There was a soft porn video playing on the television, so I just assumed that it was Sean trying to blow some steam. I turned away to make my way to the bedroom when I heard moans which did not sound like Sean's. My heart raced as I slowly made my way towards the noise. Sean was on the carpet with a girl on top of him. I could not make out who it was. They were so engrossed in their lovemaking that they did not even realize that someone had entered the house. I could hear Sean's moans of enjoyment, which made me angrier. I could not even imagine Sean to do something like this in my absence. I threw my jacket at them to let them know that they were not alone. As they quickly separated, I saw the shock and embarrassment on their faces. The girl was trying so hard to cover her face, but she kind of looked familiar. When she was trying to cover herself, I noticed that she looked very similar to my best friend. I was devastated with the fact that not only was my husband cheating, but my best friend was also involved in it. I felt a wave of betrayal and hurt wash over me as I realized the depth of their deception. The realization that two people I trusted most had betrayed me left me feeling utterly heartbroken and alone. I just stood there in shock, unable to grasp the reality playing in front of me. I was speechless as I did not know what to say. My phone started ringing, but I was in no position to answer it. Sean was about to disconnect it, but decided to answer it, and that was something which was a big mistake. Philip was on the other end, and as usual started speaking as soon as the call was received, without realizing that it wasn't me. He told me that he was already missing me and could not wait to have me in his arms again soon. This was enough to change the entire situation in Sean's favor. I could see the guilt wash off Sean's face as soon as he heard Philippe talk. He disconnected the call and noticed my dress. He started questioning me about my dress and where I was coming from. I was baffled at his shamelessness and was about to pounce on him for cheating on me. He said that my lover is already missing me. I then realized what just happened and who the call was from. It was clear that Sean was trying to divert the conversation away from his own guilt. His attempt to shift the focus onto me only confirmed my suspicions about his infidelity. Now it was my turn to answer questions. He started his interrogation by asking him if I enjoyed having sex with my lover. Was I with him all this week? He told me that just asking me questions would be too boring, so he decided to make it interesting. He asked me to take a seat, and we could have a discussion about it. I knew that I was in no place to throw any tantrums or put up any demands, as I was equally wrong. We were both cheating, so I did not have the upper hand anymore. I sat down, feeling a mix of anxiety and curiosity about what he had in store for me. I knew that this conversation would be a turning point in our relationship, for better or for worse. I knew that this conversation would be difficult, but I was determined to be honest and take responsibility for my mistakes. He and my best friend Amber brought in a few snacks and drinks, which confused me a little. This was going to be a serious discussion and not a party for them to arrange all of these things. Anyway, I decided to focus on the main issue and ignore their stupidity. Sean came closer to me and pulled out a pair of handcuffs. He handcuffed me to the sofa by one hand and asked me to answer his questions. I was shocked by his sudden change in attitude. Sean's serious demeanor caught me off guard, as I had never seen him act this way before. Despite my initial confusion, I knew I had to stay calm and address the situation at hand. I was more pissed by Amber's smirk, as if she knew exactly what Sean had in mind. Every question that I did not answer led to them kissing each other and passing chips from each other's mouth. I felt disgusted just by looking at them. I did not have a choice but to serve Sean's demands, as I was handcuffed and there was no escape. Sean seemed to take pleasure in my discomfort. smirking as he made me watch their intimate display. I could only hope that someone would come to my rescue soon. I tried to answer his questions, but he unlocked my phone and started reading my chats with Philip. The more Sean read, the angrier he became, accusing me of betrayal and deceit. I knew I was in deep trouble and needed to find a way out before things escalated further. I tried to plead with Amber to try and help me out for old time's sake. Amber hesitated, torn between loyalty to Sean and our past friendship. I could see the conflict in her eyes as she glanced back and forth between us, unsure of what to do next. I was expecting Amber to help me out while Sean got busy discovering other things in my phone. She was so close to uncuffing me when Sean caught us, and Amber smirked so hard, laughing, telling me that I almost fell for her trying to help me out. I couldn't believe how easily she had fooled me, and I realized I would have to come up with a new plan to escape. Sean's laughter echoed in the room as I mentally prepared myself for what was to come next. Amber then told me that they had been having an affair even before Sean and I got married. I was just an obstacle in their way. The only reason that we were still together was because of the torturous process of divorce. Sean tried everything in his power to make me quit this relationship, but all I did was keep myself busy. They had been waiting for me to file for divorce for such a long time. I realized that I needed to be strong and make a plan to escape this toxic situation. It was clear that Sean and Amber had been manipulating me for their own benefit, and I needed to take control of my own life. With determination, I knew that I could finally break free from their grasp and start fresh. I don't know when I got tired and fell asleep. When I woke up, I was lying on the sofa covered in a blanket. I checked myself, rushing to the mirror, and could not see any traces of marks from last night. There was a note on the table from Sean which read that he was going to the office and covered me in a blanket, as I was exhausted last night. I was confused as what happened last night would not lead to Sean leaving notes for me. Was it all just a dream? Was I too tired to have dreamed of it all? I walked around the house, pacing up and down, trying to recollect everything that happened. I called Philip, as I knew that if there was something that happened, then he sure would have an idea about it. He acted normal and told me that I was so tired that I slept while talking to him after reaching home. I was now convinced that maybe all of it was just a dream. It felt so real, though. I decided to text Amber just to confirm my doubts. She replied that she was happy that I was back and we could catch up over the weekend. Everything seemed normal, though I felt that there was something that happened last night that was bothering me. With that feeling, I got ready and left for work. As the day went on, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I kept replaying the events of last night in my mind, trying to piece together what really happened. I decided to come home and talk to Sean if everything was fine in our relationship. I knew that talking to Sean would try to put me at ease. Sean was the only person who could help me clear this confusion in my head. I hoped that our conversation would bring clarity and reassurance. I needed his perspective to make sense of my thoughts and feelings. In the evening, I waited for Sean to be back home and discuss any issues that we might have in our relationship. We sat and discussed at length, but Sean seemed clueless about any issues in our relationship. I felt frustrated and disappointed that Sean didn't seem to understand my concerns. I realized that maybe I needed to approach the situation differently or seek advice from someone else. I came to the realization that maybe it was a very vivid dream that seemed too real to happen in real life. Things were going good for a while. After a week, Sean suddenly made a plan for us to go out for the weekend. I had to cancel my plans with Philip at the last moment, which he wasn't pleased with. I decided to deal with Philip when I met him the next time. Sean took me to a fancy hotel where we were to spend the weekend together. I had already informed Philip that I would be unavailable till Monday. Though I wasn't very excited to spend the weekend with Sean, I had to act as if I was looking forward to it. When we arrived at the hotel, Sean surprised me with a room upgrade and dinner reservations at a fancy restaurant. Despite my initial reservations, I found myself enjoying the weekend more than I had expected. We finished our dinner and made our way to our room. I dressed in sexy lingerie as I thought that maybe Sean deserved to look at my sexy body after all the effort he put into making this weekend special. I lit some candles and put on some soft music, hoping to set the mood for a romantic evening together. As I heard Sean approaching the room, I couldn't help but feel excited for what the night had in store for us. He came in and told me that he had a surprise for me and blindfolded me. I was waiting for something unexpected, but when I opened my eyes, the lights were out and I could barely see anything. Sean sat beside me on the bed and tied my hands and legs. He whispered that we should try something new and different as it's been too long. I was finally happy that maybe Sean was growing up in terms of his sexual desires. I waited patiently for something exciting to happen when I saw Amber walking towards the bed with 2 wine glasses in her hand and a scanty little dress. I knew that I wasn't drunk enough to imagine all of this. As she approached, I could see a mischievous glint in her eyes, and I couldn't help but wonder what she had in store for me. The evening was about to take an unexpected turn, and I was more than ready to see where it would lead. Now, I am sure that everything that happened last week was not a dream. It all actually happened, and both Sean and Amber kept me fooled for an entire week. I was tied and could not move my body. I knew that I was trapped with this maniac couple, who I had no idea what they would do to me this time. As I struggled against my restraints, I realized that Sean and Amber were not the people I thought they were. Fear gripped me as I awaited their next move, unsure of what twisted plans they had in store for me. I knew that moving me away from the house was a way for them to torture me even further. This way no one would be suspicious, or I couldn't call for help. I was scared to death of what would happen now, as I had no place to escape. The sound of their footsteps approaching sent chills down my spine, and I braced myself for whatever horrors they had planned. With each passing moment, the realization sank in that I was completely at their mercy, trapped in a nightmare of their making. Amber and Sean started playing their own version of beer pong by hitting me with balls aiming at different parts of my body. They made sure that all of this left no bruises as evidence. They were drinking, having fun, and using me as a target board. I was tired and could not do much. After they got tired and I begged them to let me use the bathroom, they finally let me use the bathroom. I locked myself in the bathroom and decided to stay there until I knew it was safe for me to come out. I could hear them laughing and joking outside the door, but I knew I needed to wait until they passed out before making my escape. As the night went on, their voices faded, and I finally felt safe enough to leave the bathroom and make a run for it. It was midnight when I made my escape and quickly called Philip. I prayed that Philip would pick up my call and get me out of this situation. I just picked my purse and ran out of there, so I had no money or no jacket. I decided to go to a friend's place for the night and figure something out in the morning. I hoped that my friend would be awake and willing to help me. As I ran through the dark streets, I felt a sense of relief knowing that I had someone to turn to in this time of need. I told my friend that I was robbed and Sean was out of town so that it doesn't cause any more drama. I just needed a quiet night with no more drama for the day. In the morning, I got a call from Philippe and told him everything that happened last night. I could hear someone else being with Philippe, and when questioned, he told me that he was with his regular girlfriend. I was confused what he meant by that. He explained to me that I was his seasonal girlfriend, whom he would meet once in a while, and he had another one to satisfy his needs on a regular basis. He started laughing and telling me that I thought that I was the only woman he was involved with. He told me that I could not be that stupid to think that he would be living without sex for 3 to 4 months waiting for me. He told me that he was sorry that I was caught by my husband, but there was nothing he could do about it, as it is not his problem. He asked me to call him back once I was available after sorting everything out. I was still in shock. I trusted Philip blindly and was very confident that he would be the one to pull me out of this dangerous relationship I was in. Now that it was clear that Philip did not care about my problems and I was too scared to go home and see Sean, I felt completely lost and alone, unsure of who to turn to for help. The fear of facing Sean on my own was paralyzing, leaving me with no choice but to find a way to protect myself. I thanked my friend last night and started walking, having no idea where to go. I decided to go to a cafe and clear my head before I decide what to do going forward. I ordered breakfast and sat at a table. As I was replaying everything that happened, it suddenly hit my head that maybe I should document all of this and put it up online and ask people for advice. So I pulled out my phone and started typing without thinking about whatever came to mind. I wanted it to be raw and pure. I did not care about structure or anything and just focused on the facts. I think I sat there for about 2 hours typing all this out. Anyone out there who is reading this, please, if you could help me with what I should do in this situation and how to actually keep myself safe. I appreciate any guidance or suggestions you may have. Thank you in advance for taking the time to read and offer your help. Update. Thank you all so much for such overwhelming advice. I am very thankful and grateful that there were so many people interested in my story and tried to give suggestions. Since so many people had shown interest in my story, I wanted to let you guys know what I'd done after I ran away. After uploading the post, I mustered up my courage and went home. I sneaked into the house when I knew Son would be at work and packed all my stuff. I used up all of my savings to find a place where I could move. I knew that staying in the same house with Sean is only going to cause me more harm physically, and I was terrified of that idea. I found a small apartment in a different neighborhood and quickly signed the lease, feeling relieved to finally have a safe place to call my own. Moving forward, I knew I needed to focus on rebuilding my life and finding peace away from Sean's toxic presence. I took a few days off as I wasn't sure if Sean would show up at work and create a scene. I felt relaxed after spending a few days in my new house all by myself. I felt safe again and decided that it was time for me to move on. I started work, and a few days went by with me getting used to this new life. I put my old life behind me and started letting my guard down and feeling secure. I ordered pizza over the weekend and decided to just chill watching a movie. I went to get the door to grab my pizza, and to my horror, Sean was the one delivering the pizza to me. He forced himself in and told me that it would not be so easy to get rid of him. I was technically still married to him, and he had every right to know what was going on in my life. I felt a surge of fear and anxiety as he invaded my safe space, realizing that my past was not as far behind me as I had thought. Sean's presence brought back memories of a tumultuous relationship that I had worked so hard to move on from. I begged him to leave me alone, and I would do anything possible to stay away from him. He forced me to sign an agreement where he would receive half my salary every month. I knew that I had no choice but to sign it if I had to get him out of here. He told me that there was no way he was going to divorce me as I was his cash cow. I couldn't leave my house or job without letting him know, as he would find me wherever I went. I was too scared to do anything against his wishes. I agreed to everything and told that I would keep my mouth shut if he would just let me live in peace. After going through all of that mess, here I am stuck in this life like a slave. I don't feel alive anymore. I go to work, come home, watch television, and fall asleep. I follow the same pattern every day. As soon as I get my salary, I send the money to Sean, as I don't want him coming here demanding for it. I feel like I'm in a prison and I don't know when my sentence is going to end. I used to have dreams and aspirations, but now I feel like I'm just existing. I need to find a way to break free from this monotonous routine before it's too late. Thank you everyone for all your suggestions and support. I am sorry that I could not live up to many people's expectations of reporting him or filing a case against him for domestic abuse, as I don't think I am strong enough. I wish I had the courage to stand up for myself, but I am sorry to disappoint you all. Please understand that it is a difficult decision for me to make, and I appreciate your understanding and continued support during this challenging time. Your encouragement means a lot to me as I navigate through this situation. I know this is not the ending you guys were hoping for, but life is what it is. It is not fair and not always has a happy ending. I just wish that many people are able to know the true color of your partners beforehand and stand up for themselves, unlike me. Hoping everyone else to have the courage to fight for a happy life. That's it from me, and hopefully I don't get to write any more of these posts ever. Thank you all again.